Most men aged like 35 to 65 blame women for everything. It's a woman's fault that a man abandons his child. No, it's not. It's a man's fault for not stepping up, taking accountability, and being a part of his child's life. It's not a woman's fault. It's not, ever.
Welcome to another episode of Self-Checkout. I'm your humble and gracious host, Check. This is a male-dominant space for social awareness, relationships, and overall shit-talking. TikTok is a very interesting place to say the least, and I'm sure we can all agree. This Karen decided to get online and blame men for all the things that are wrong with our family system today. Now, of course, like I always tell y'all, I deem every video to be either a troll or something staged until proven otherwise. But before we get into the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and please hit the bell. That way, every time we drop a video, you guys can get the notification and get to the video first. With that being said, I can't do this video any justice, so let's get right into it.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that in 2030, which is not that far away, 45% of women aged 25 to 40 are going to be single and childless?
Why is that?
I mean, I will say that society as a whole has made it very challenging to have children. Children are expensive.
That is true.
And it's barely, we're barely able to keep a roof over our head because of the salaries and minimum wage. I mean, you can get into all of that.
That is very true.
I think
I gotta agree with her on that.
underlying unspoken truth is that a lot of women don't want a man who isn't a man. And
what does that mean?
Society as a whole, and we see this, and I see this in the comment section of that video 1,000 times over, most men aged like 35 to 65 blame women for everything.
What is everything?
It's a woman's fault that a man abandons his child. No, it's not. It's a man's fault for not stepping up, taking accountability, and being a part of his child's life. It's not a woman's fault. It's not. Ever. Like, ever.
Huh,
you can go to court. I don't care if it costs $200 million to get access to your child. If you have a child, you should be doing anything and everything to be a part of their lives.
Let's stop it right there really quickly. First and foremost, it should never cost that much to see your child. Seeing your child should be free, okay? Seeing your child should be free. And her saying that it's never a mother's fault as to why a father would or would not be able to see his kid is asinine, to say the least. She is so removed from reality. And I understand sometimes our perception on things, depending on what side of the fence we are on, can alter our view and understanding of what's really happening. In this space, I can tell she's never spoken to a man about the issues that we face while dealing with certain women. No, it's not all mothers. There are some really amazing mothers out there that do the right things for their kids. There are some amazing fathers out there that do the right things for their kids. But just logically speaking, if they are deadbeat dads, they are deadbeat moms. We just don't call it out for the women because their actions are always justified in any way, shape, or form. In my 30 plus years of life, I don't think I've ever met a man that wanted children and then he got the kids and just said, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna just go ahead and do my own thing. She got it. I don't know where this woman got this information from, but a lot of us are really removed from reality because we spend a lot of time on social media. And social media paints a certain picture, a certain narrative that a lot of us follow. But let's see what else she has to say.
Women are recognizing that men just don't want to be a part of their child's life. Men want to have children as like a trophy and then leave it to a woman to take care of that child. They're not participating. They're not putting in an effort as a parent. I'm not saying all men, okay? So stop with that trope. But a lot of men and a lot of women ages 25 to 40, although I think that says 44, they're recognizing this as well. And they're saying, you know what? I would rather opt out of that. I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be stressed all the time. See what their mother had to deal with, and they don't want that.
But if you don't want that, why continue to have sex raw with these men that are going to, according to her, just up and leave you because you have a child by them? Why continue to have sex with them? Why not just practice abstinence, be celibate? Why not? Because these women are still having a lot of sex, unprotected. They're not on any birth control of any sort. They're not requiring that man to wear a condom of any kind. So you are participating in the very activity that it takes to make a baby, but you don't want a baby. And then certain women have certain morals that say if they have a baby, they have to keep it. If they become impregnated, they have to keep that child. If a woman like that ends up in a situation with a man, but she also has the beliefs that this young woman here or this lady here is displaying, how does that work now? It all sounds good and dandy. It all sounds so simple and smooth, but let's be realistic here. What's actually happening? And I've never met a man in my life that wanted kids had the opportunity, got the right woman pregnant, got with the woman, got her pregnant, and just up and left. That shit is not real. It's all social media propaganda. It's all social media push. This is all the shit she's just regurgitating that she heard from social media. None of this is true. Are there deadbeat fathers? For sure. But I can assure you, if you met those fathers prior to that pregnancy, you would have known he didn't want that baby. You would have known that. When that time came and that conversation happened, more than likely he told her, I don't want to do that. I'm not saying that it is correct. I'm not saying that men should not take care of their responsibilities. But if that woman can get an abortion, if that woman can leave a kid at a fire station, for all we know, men are saying, you know what? Fuck it. I didn't want this responsibility. You're forcing it upon me and I don't want to be participating in it. No different from Anthony Edwards. He told her exactly what it was going to be. Hey, I'm not going to be a father to that child. It is in your best interest to not have it. But that woman was on a money grab. She had the child anyway, despite the challenges the child is going to face in the future because she has no father figure. But here we are. Let's continue.
See that my oldest girlfriend didn't want kids because she saw that her dad abandoned her family and her mother.
These stories are always fabricated. Just for the record, these stories are always fabricated. A man, so he was a husband, a father, and then one day he just got up and said, you know what? I'm out of here. See ya. You guys figure it out. It never works out like that. But let's get back into it.
Weird. And she doesn't want to be her mom. She doesn't want to be put in a position where she has to do everything on her own.
She doesn't have to do that.
Women are noticing that. And they're saying, you know what? I'm going to choose to not have children because I know already that whoever I choose, the percent of that person just leaving and walking away and not participating is extremely high.
It is not.
And who is to blame for that? If we're going to put any blame on anybody, who is to blame for that? Fathers who are not raising their boys to be men. The lack of role models, the lack of male role models. The idea that let's continue to push patriarchy, even though patriarchy is not working in our society anymore.
The society that patriarchy built, that you are living comfortably in. It's very interesting for women to push back against the patriarchy, but also use the benefits of patriarchy. For example, chivalry is a part of patriarchy, right? Taking a woman on a date, courting her, paying bills, protecting. That's all the patriarchy. But I'm sure they don't want to abandon those values. They don't want to get rid of those. They just want to get rid of the part where, hey, because I am producing in a certain way, I am equipped to lead this family in a certain direction. I'm going to have the last say so on a number of decisions. Yes, I will consult with you. Yes, we can have a conversation and figure out what the best option is. But at the end of the day, I am going to lead this family in the direction that we need to go in. And I need you to trust me to do that. This conversation about not having the patriarchy, it sounds so easy and so simple, but this conversation would never be a thing if the patriarchy didn't build the world around you. We've built such a world as men that is so convenient that women truly believe without us, they'll be fine. Not understanding blue-collar men keep this country afloat. I don't see women lining up for blue-collar jobs. And then she speaks about role models. If I'm going to be a role model to a young boy, I'm going to dictate what I think is going to help him in the future. I'm not going to now take whatever narrative that you are trying to paint now, this new society, and give it to him. I don't believe in that. So even if I wanted to mentor him, you guys are going to override it some way, somehow, and tell him it's toxic masculinity when it damn sure ain't. Everything coming out of this woman's mouth is just social media propaganda. That's all it is. That's why I have to deem it as trolling. We're just going to stop it there. I think she's becoming a bit redundant, and honestly, we got to stop the bleeding at some point. Moral to the story is stand on morals, stand on principle, stand on your discipline, thrive in your masculinity, fellas. Don't allow them, these types, to tell you being a man is wrong and the way you're going about being a man is wrong. As long as you're not actively harming anybody, as long as you are truly pouring back into your family, your friends, your community, and restoring order, because that's exactly what we don't have today. Don't stray away from that. With that being said, gotta keep the change.